run multiple affairs with my friend, and try to ruin his life. Nope. I will ruin your life. A childhood friend who was the most empathetic, kind guy I've ever known did a hitch in the Navy, went into computers, and played guitar in a band. He married a pretty mean girl who liked the idea of a big wedding and a musician husband, but had no interest in a marriage. She was her family's golden child, drop-dead gorgeous, and completely narcissistic and spoiled. They buy land. He borrows money, and has his family build their house to reduce costs. He was paying them back over time while she spent money and socialized, sometimes working a part-time job. After 2 years, she's bored and starts an affair, or we think, never stopped affairs but gets caught. And while the empathetic guy tries to work things out, she makes false accusations of domestic awes and files for divorce. With a restraining order keeping him out of the home he and his family built with their own hands. Now keep in mind that he's still paying his family back for the home, still ordered to pay for the land, and most of the upkeep and maintenance. He's back in his childhood bedroom, while his wife entertains her men in that house. With some research by the lawyer, the family still technically own the house. Now my family owns a heavy equipment business, including house and structural movers. Look up house movers to verify what I said. When she went on vacation with her family and new boyfriend, we went in, jacked up the house, and drove off with it. The structure wasn't covered in the court order, just the mortgaged land. She had a legal claim to the land. Her name was on the mortgage, but the structure appeared nowhere on the deed, and there was still money owed on most of the materials and labor. So it was simply reposted. Now, the judge wasn't happy at all, but it wasn't illegal to repossess since the land mortgage was the only thing he was court-ordered to pay. She came home to a foundation, pipes and wires sticking out of the ground, and a crappy used yard barn with her personal possessions in it. Now, it wouldn't be nuclear if it stopped there. Since the main character has recently passed away, I can tell more. We had a guy we called Big Bob, and the name fits. Everyone probably knows someone who defies jail and unalive as a walking demolition crew. And in fact, we called him Demolition Man for a while after the movie. Apparently, someone put huge bilbos smeared with dried whipped cream crust in her possessions when her dad and friends came to get the rest of her possessions out of the yard barn. There were also extreme insertion adultery and bestiality adultery magazines, bongs shaped like corks, etc. Someone used her pictures in the dating magazines pre-internet for a paid escort with her phone number. Her parents even had to change their phone numbers a few times. Someone got those change of address cards from the post office and sent her mail around the country. Someone knew exactly when the legal separation happened, and she was supposed to get her own car insurance, but she didn't get that letter. Her car burned down in her workplace parking lot a few days after the legal separation happened, and of course, she didn't get the insurance company notification in the mail, so no insurance. Someone had intimate pictures printed with a man's face blacked out on flyers. The printing pointed out that she wasn't her husband at the time, and stuck them under windshield wipers at her family's church, everywhere she worked, all around her neighborhood. Cops got involved in that, but they couldn't find where the flyers were printed. Big Bob was an over-the-road truck driver. Everything dried down when she finally agreed to let our friend buy her out on the land, for a reasonable sum paying for it twice, and drop the restraining order. Less than a week after he had a clear title, the house showed back up right where it was before. Since it was still on the steel used to move it, all we had to do was stick a truck back under it, take it back, and hook it up. This was until she decided to marry a guy from a hard-working family that was doing well. She love-bombed the poor, hard-working sap. He never knew what hit him. She had a bachelorette party with her pretty mean girlfriends at a local recreation lake, and rubbed it in her bachelorette party was going to cost more and be better than her wedding to my friend. I think that's what quenched the nuclear revenge. The flyers showed up all over at his bachelor party at his parents' house with his family, and her bachelorette party got busted for drugs, where they found several people in various stages of undress, including the bride-to-be and quite a bit of drugs, bunches of alcohol, etc. When that wedding blew up, the wedding dress from the first marriage to our friend showed up on a scarecrow with a pentagram on the front. What looked like blood paint on it in her front yard. No one even missed the wedding dress from the first wedding until then. Every week, every time she dated someone seriously, etc., the flyers showed back up. She finally gained about 50-70 pounds and quit trying to date seriously. She looked like her 70-pound overweight mother. But 30 years earlier, she married a fat truck driver eventually. R.I.P. Big Bob. You were one hell of a friend, and we are all going to miss you. We will sing the song of your people and raise a glass to you every time we meet. In the comments. O.P. We were in diapers together, the geeks and losers together in school. Most of us did a hitch in the military, so we are vets together. We have helped start and support each other's businesses. We are all each other's kids, godfathers, etc. Bob had no filters. Short of psychological harm to females, there wasn't much off the table for him, and you never get to mess with his little buddy like she did. We are all big workhorse farm construction boys. The betrayed husband was the smallest of us, so big brother instinct kicks in when someone messes with him. Bob was a frigging force of nature. How he never got arrested or paced away is beyond me, and absolutely no one believes the big Bob stores unless they were there. My wife didn't until she saw, with her own eyes, a copperhead snake strike at Bob, and he slapped it. The circular snake shoot took place, and you wouldn't believe that 7 or 8 guys stood in a tight circle around a snake and shot it to pieces. The kicker was that it was full of babies that flew all over us. My then girlfriend, now wife, saw that and had 911 on speed dial, but no one unalive, even though we had to pull bullet jackets out of our clothes and slap off baby copperheads. When Bob worked for our family business, we got a 71 mph in a 55 mph zone speeding ticket in a truck with an entire 3-bedroom house on the back. We get together every year and race plastic Barbie cars down a big hill, alcohol and BBQ involved. The past few years a live band, etc. About 300 people passed away last year. It's Armed Forces Day, veterans are involved, and there was actually an artistic leg bet lost. The guy had to wait until next year to win it back. A bet is a bet. It's the wanna go, guys. They never ask where or what. It might be building or wiring someone's house or garage. It might be skydiving or scuba diving. You may need spare socks and bail money, but it's not boring. Back when I first started dating my wife, she said she hadn't flown before, so her first flight was on the Goodyear blimp. We bought a lot of tires back then and got tickets. Between the bunch, we can move about anything. We can build about anything, including finishing concrete. There are computer guys, serious race car weekends. You just never know what's next. We are slowing down now that we are in our 60s. I have a picture of me, Big Bob, and another guy on the top of a moving van. Bob has a Get to Blaster on his shoulder. It was blasting Motley Crue, and we were doing the ZZ Top Shuffle at about 50 mph. I almost got arrested that day. The state police were not amused, but the car show crowd loved it. We don't mess with civilians. Play by the rules, and you have nothing to worry about. It's not a good idea to screw with any of us or our families. We take that personally. If you think Big Bob is an exaggeration, I'm 6'5", and he was taller than me. Norcal athlete. I knew a couple guys like you when I was in the army. Their last names started with a K and another with an N, but they were the type of dudes who epitomized corn-fed and farm-bred country boys. Completely immune to tasers, as we found out. Good times. Good guys to have on your side. OP. Intelligent and smart are two different things. Since they all owned or operated their own businesses, I'd say they were fairly intelligent. Not once did I ever say they were smart. These are the guys that had dirt-clod fights, mud fights, snowball fights. Bicycles were for jumping crap. We were the right age. Classic 1670 cars were just used cars, so most of us went that way. And since you need somewhere to work on your rust bucket, our band was actually a garage band, as bad as it was. The military was a respected path, and it helped pay for college and trade schools since none of us were trust fund babies. No flex, but we have all had varying degrees of success. Nothing that will make Forbes magazine or the Wall Street newspapers, but we are mostly comfortable now in our retirement years. No one is eating cat food or living in their car. There has always been a spare bedroom somewhere. We've been through arguments, fights, births, deaths, weddings, divorces, and paybacks together. And it's good to have a support network. Thank you for watching the video.